If you don't know your business's funnel, you don't really know your business. Your funnel tells you exactly where your weak points are, what's working, what's not, where you should focus and reinforce, and it helps you literally multiply your efforts. So it sounds simple and obvious, but surprising how few business owners actually take the time to run the numbers and analyze their funnel. So in this video, I'm going to go step by step through how I break down a funnel, analyze the conversion rates and performance at each step, generate some recommendations with the help of AI, and then map out an implementation roadmap to help me improve my funnel. It's one of the highest ROI activities that I do in my business, and it really doesn't take that long to do. So I've just created a doc in Bizway to help us work through this funnel analysis, and I asked Bizway's assistant to just generate a bit of a summary outline for us to work through. So the first step in this analysis is to actually flesh out the funnel stages that you're going to be working on. Now there's a longer list of funnel stages. I asked Bizway to just give me a recap of the best practices, what are typically the stages of a funnel. So you have everything from awareness, interest, consideration. There are a lot of specific steps or stages that you could focus on, but really what you're trying to do is just understand what are the steps that a potential customer needs to go through from never having heard of your product or service to either purchasing or becoming a long-term customer, whatever it is that you want to set as the bottom of your funnel. And you're free to choose the most relevant stages that you want to build your funnel with, but the combination of steps should give you a very clear picture of how efficiently or effectively is your business attracting new potential customers and working them through to becoming actual customers. So I'm going to be working with a 5-stage funnel for Bizway, but I still need to be much more specific about what each of these stages actually mean. So for awareness, I want to give a very clear definition so that I can measure users or customers that are in that stage. So in this measuring part of the table, I'm going to say all impressions across social media and website visits. So this is now going to be anyone who has seen Bizway somewhere in the wild, some of our content on the blog, on social media, one of our YouTube videos, and this is what's going to be called the top of the funnel. But the people who see our content and the people who even arrive on the website for a blog post are not necessarily our target users. They may not be interested in the Bizway product. They may not be starting businesses. They may not want an AI tool to help them. So they may not even be considering it. Just because I've put some content in their face doesn't mean that they're actually interested in the product. So what I want to measure next is the people of that awareness group who are actually considering using Bizway. And one way that I can measure it based on the data that I have is just the number of people who visit the pricing page. Now this may or may not capture everyone who's actually considering it, but I found that it's a pretty good metric and it's something that I can track and actually work on improving. So I'm just going to say people who visit /pricing on the website. So for Bizway, we have a free trial. If you had a free plan or if you had a newsletter sign up or something else like this, that might be another activity that you could measure in the intent stage. But for Bizway, it's going to be new free trial sign up. And this is actually a pretty high friction step. We ask for a payment card, so the entire checkout process and sign up for the free trial. But this is my intent step, which I want to measure as free trial signups. Some percentage of the free trial signups will actually continue their trial all the way through and purchase the subscription product. So that's going to be my purchase step, which is going to be new subscribers. We don't have a free plan, so all subscribers are going to be paid subscribers. Now I could just leave it there and that's going to tell me a lot about how I am acquiring customers. But because Bizway is a subscription business, churn is actually one of the most important metrics for me to understand and take a look at. Now, of course, I'm going to also be looking at churn and observing that as a separate metric, but one way to fit something like customer retention into your funnel is to just set a target for your loyalty length. So a customer who has stuck with the product for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, That might be your loyalty target, and you can then measure the number of users who mature into meeting that target. So let's just do, since Bizway is a very new business, let's just do 6 months as the loyalty target. So 6 months subscriber. So that means any subscriber who has stuck with the Bizway platform for 6 months will count towards this conversion rate in the funnel. So now it's a matter of actually collecting and pulling together the data that's necessary to analyze this funnel. And there's 2 things you're going to run into here. Either one, you have a step in your funnel which you're not collecting data for. So the implementation and the outcome of this analysis is going to recommend, number one, that you set up the data tracking tools to actually get data on that step. So if you were running ads, for example, and you wanted to track the number of conversions that were coming from ads, then you definitely need to set up a pixel and you need to be tracking the conversions from your ad. If you wanted to add a step where the number of people who opened your welcome email was an important step to gather intent, then you need to make sure that you're tracking your email open rates. So if you have a stage that you would like to include in your funnel, but you don't have data for it, then you need to set up that data tracking capability. Or another problem you might face is that you feel like you have a rich data source that's not being mentioned in your funnel, and you might want to think of a way to add a stage into your funnel where you can make use of that data. So for example, if I have this YouTube channel and I have all of these detailed analytics about the view time and the new subscribers and all of these metrics, but I don't actually include YouTube in my funnel anywhere, then that's a clear sign that I'm missing something in my funnel that's clearly an important part of the business. So the 2 things to look at when you're thinking about data collection is 1, do I have a step in my funnel where I'm missing data? And 2, do I have data which is missing from my funnel? So I'm just going to input some nice round numbers to make this analysis a bit easier for us. Let's say that across all website impressions, social media, YouTube, everything, let's just say that Bizway is getting 100,000 impressions per month. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that when you're thinking about the data collection and methodology, you should choose the time period that you're going to be collecting the data for. So let's just do the last month for this one. But you can also run this exact process month by month, and you can compare the conversion rates so you can see the trend of your funnel in different areas, and you can get an idea of how the business is performing over time. But let's just do one analysis of a single period, which is going to be, let's say, last 30 days. Let's say that the awareness stage saw 100,000 users. Of those users, the number that made it to the pricing page and made it to the consideration phase, let's just say that this is roughly 15%. So 15,000 made it through. Of those who are considering it and made it to the pricing page, we might say 150 signed up for a free trial. Of those, typical free trial sign-up rate is maybe between 40 and 60%. Let's just do 50%. New subscribers. And then of those who signed up and didn't churn for 6 months, stuck with it for 6 months, let's say roughly half of those as well. So you can see that as we work through the funnel, we have gone from 100,000 down to 40 for our loyalty stage. And in my experience, this is not actually that crazy of a drop-off. These are pretty normal numbers, and we're going to go into the conversion rates for each stage of this funnel. Conversion rate for the beginning, nothing. So from awareness to consideration, the conversion rate is 15%. 15% of the people who heard about Bizway anywhere made it to our pricing page. Of those, we're going to say a very harsh 1% signed up for a free trial. Of those, 50% converted to a paying customer. And of those, roughly 50-ish%, 53% converted into loyalty customers. So even by just doing this simple exercise, it tells me a lot about where things are breaking down and where things are going well. So you can see that near the bottom of our funnel, things are looking pretty good in terms of percentages. Once people do sign up for the free trial, and they do become a subscriber, we keep a pretty high percentage of them on the platform. But where the numbers are looking pretty alarming is this 1% sign up for the free trial, and potentially this 15% could be improved as well. So let's add a column here for some targets that we might want to aim for. Let's say we wanted to just get this up to 25% instead of 15%. We wanted to increase the free trial signups from 1% to 2%. Let's just say we're even happy with these current rates for the purchase. Now, if you look at these numbers, 15% to 25%, 1% to 2%, it doesn't seem like that significant of a change. But let's just run the scenario where these are the numbers instead. So if we assume the same awareness numbers, but we get 25% to the pricing page instead, we now have 25,000. If we get 2% of our 25,000, it's going to be 500 signups, free trial signups, which turns into 250, which turns into 125. And if we compare the numbers, we can see that we have, at the end of all of this, more than a 3x or 300% increase in our total purchases, just by increasing consideration from 15 to 25% and intent from 1 to 2%. So if you're familiar with funnels, this is all going to sound very obvious to you. Funnels are multipliers. Every stage of the funnel that you can increase, tweak a 1% to a 1.5% is going to make massive differences to your bottom line. What this analysis tells me is that I'm probably not selling my free trial strongly enough. I'm probably not making it easy enough for people to sign up, because once they do sign up, they stick around for a while and they become valuable customers. For the consideration phase, I could start making more relevant and targeted content so that the percentage of people who land on the website or see us are already interested in becoming a potential subscriber. So if I were to do this manually, what I would do is for each and every step, I would conduct a bit of an analysis of how is it performing. I might run the same analysis over multiple months and see, is it trending up or down? Am I getting more in the awareness stage? Less? Am I getting more to the consideration stage? Less? I might just give my own reflections on why do I think there's a change? How do I think it's performing? I will compare it against benchmarks. So something like a free trial, there's plenty of data online that can give me a benchmark, like a hint towards what is a good conversion rate for a free trial. And I would do that for each stage of my funnel. But in this case, I'm going to ask Bizway to run the analysis for me and then make some recommendations based on the analysis, as well as come up with the implementation roadmap. So I'm just going to ask Bizway, complete the... Alright, so it's given me this report here. It's given the table with the recommendations in the table, breakdown of strong and weak points. Then it's gone through each step with some recommendations. So I'm just going to paste all of this into my doc in Bizway. So the main recommendations are listed here. We have recommendations for each step, but let's just focus on the ones that were struggling. So it's recommending that we maybe enhance the pricing page with customer testimonials and provide informative case studies to build trust. This is probably going to help with the intent conversion for the free trial. Optimize the free trial sign-up process. That's a good idea. Streamline the checkout process. These ones were fine again. So let's see what it's done for the breakdown of strong and weak points. So of course, this is just a starting point. Sometimes it helps to have an outside perspective, kind of look at all of the data and give you some recommendations. So I would use this as a starting point, and then from there I might add my own reflections and analysis. But we also have some concrete steps that we can implement. I can try improving the pricing page by adding some testimonials. I can try changing up the free trial sign-up process. Maybe that means removing the required credit card. And what I can do is I can implement those changes, keep track of the changes that I have made in this document, and then next time I run my funnel analysis, I can see what has changed, what's improved, or what's stayed the same. Did the changes make any difference based on that data? And I'll have a history of the changes that I've made the expected outcome that I was hoping to achieve and whether or not it actually made any difference. So that's a very quick run through of how you can run your funnel analysis and find out the weak points and areas to focus on in your business. To recap, the first step is to actually build your funnel and think through the steps, the key steps that a user is going to take on their journey with your business. Then you need to think about how you're going to collect the data. There are two problems you'll run into. One, you don't have the data tracking set up and you'll need to do that. Or two, you don't have a stage in your funnel which can make use of data that you already have. Next, you just need to input the data into your funnel and calculate the conversion rates at each step. Based on the conversion rates at each step, you can compare these against benchmarks. And based on the benchmarks, you might want to set a new target for yourself and areas to focus. You can also run through the scenario of what would happen if you were to meet those new targets, just if you need a little bit more motivation to improve your funnel. And lastly, you need to generate some real concrete recommendations and steps that you can take to make changes at each step of the funnel that is currently not performing as well as you'd hope. You can use a tool like Bizway to help you go through this process, or if you have any questions at all while you are doing this for yourself, just leave me a comment and I'll be happy to help. Thanks for watching.